What's up, guys? I'm Kyle, also known as the Panda Man. Got the two biggest mistakes today that people make in their fasting efforts. I'm going to tell you all about it. But first, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. The first big mistake that people make when it comes to fasting, and I guess this would apply to any new habit you're trying to form, but I'll give you a way to beat it too. But the first big mistake is they leave it up to their feelings. So I just had a buddy messaging me away. The schedule shook out. Wasn't sure if he was going to do 48. No doubt this guy's a mental warrior. That wasn't in question. But I told him, the way I coach people on it is decision. Based on a Latin word, it means to sever, to cut yourself off from any other possibilities. Now there's nuance, and if you know the rules, you can break the rules. If you're advanced like my friend is, that's different. But when you're starting out with this stuff, the big problem people make is, let me see how I feel. I gotta see if I am shaky. You give yourself the out before you even started. It is a terrible mistake that people make. If you take quitting off the table in anything in life, guys, guess what? There's only one way, and that's to succeed and go forward. Take quitting off the table. Take that gray, I call it the gray area with mind mapping. Take this gray area off the table. Eliminate it from your mind. You will open up a tremendous amount of headspace. You decide, it's black or white. That's part of the reason I chose the Panda for what I teach people, the symbology. It's black or white. That's it. Now, the other aspect, before I come back to that big mistake, with the Panda is the yin-yang, right? The black or white, the duality, mindfulness to the approach. So you start your fasting journey and you wait to see how you feel. You will not succeed. But if you make up your mind, now you know that at some point you might feel hunger. And remember, hunger is an emotion. I don't care what anybody else says. Start viewing it as that and just see how much easier it is to deal with. And I have certain ways that I teach people to deal with that, the questions and the inner dialogue and what they have to tell themselves. But that's very powerful once you make that reframe. Now, you know you're going to feel that hunger when you decide this. Now, the mindfulness is what happens then. You have to go inward. You have to figure it out when you get to that point. It's like when I decided to run a marathon, and even a half marathon this year, but the marathon last year. I wanted to see what would happen when I got to that breaking point. I wanted to test myself. Okay, now you know you're in the hurt locker. Now what? With the Panda diet, what I teach people is the mental muscle that you're building. Day in, day out, when you commit to this and you do it, you're a little bit uncomfortable sometimes, but you get through it. The worst thing you can do is start. I'm going to wait and see how I feel. I didn't feel like it. I was getting a little shaky. I had a rough day. I had stress that happened at work. So I decided to wait. My blood sugar was running low. Now, the next time you go to do it, are you going to trust in the process or not? It's really you that you shouldn't trust, not the process. Don't do that and then say it didn't work, because that's a bunch of nonsense and BS. So that's the first big mistake people make. They don't fully commit. They don't make the decision. They don't cut themselves off from any other possibility. That's foundational. That, along with what I teach people about food being a drug, I teach them that in lesson 1. Right, and the inner dialogue that you need to work on, that's one of the lessons I teach in my Panda Challenge. Right out the gate is how do we reframe hunger? How do we view it? What do we tell ourselves? What are the questions we ask about hunger? And it's a game changer. But you need to realize that you're going to be mastering the mind. Think of this more as a self-development tool than anything else. All right, big mistake number 2. The second big mistake people make when they start the Panda diet, not the Panda diet, because I coach them differently, but long-form fasting, is when it goes time to break the fast. They're concerned about limiting their carbohydrate intake. I guess on a broader perspective, they're concerned with keeping their insulin level low. You don't need to do that. You've already limited insulin for majority of the day, week, or whatever schedule you're on. Insulin is the most anabolic hormone there is. I'm going to repeat that. It's the most anabolic hormone there is. It means growth. Why don't you flip the script and make it so you use the anabolic principle of insulin to your advantage? Right? That's what I teach with the slingshot method. My slingshot theory, I should say, of how people can eat like this and actually pack on muscle. Doesn't seem like it makes sense, but yet it happens all the time with my clients. When you go to break your fast, I'll preface this, you have a lot of leeway with what you eat. You have a lot more flexibility when you're on a long form fasting schedule with what you eat. And over time, I would love to see you eating good, nutritious, micronutrient dense foods. But if you're looking at long-term habit formation, that's where I tie the mind mapping stuff in. You have to enjoy the process. Anything that takes a lot of willpower, you're not going to form a habit around. Anything that your brain doesn't find pleasurable to do, you're not going to form a habit around. It just doesn't happen. That's not the way things go. So, are you going to enjoy eating carnivore forever? Are you going to enjoy keto? Are you actually going to stick with that? I remember last year, it was funny. We were down in South Carolina for a podcast. Owner, one of the producers, was with me. It was Wednesday, which today happens to be a Wednesday as I'm filming this. What's up, Brian?
Hey, pal, what's happening?
And Wednesday is Mexican night, feast. I try not to miss it because I love it. Even when I'm traveling, like last Wednesday, I was in Houston giving a talk. Well, guess what? We went out for Mexican. Anyway, we were down in South Carolina. So, all right, Mexican. He said, well, I'm doing this carnivore thing with this other coach I'm working with, and I've got to go 30 days. I said, well, you could have fun with that. I'm going to be eating my burrito packed with rice, beans, and I have steak and chicken and all that. I said, but have fun. Get some chicken if you want, or steak. I'll pick you up some if that's all you want to eat. And needless to say, he joined me with the burritos. Now, it wasn't peer pressure or anything, but I said, why are you going to do something that you don't like doing? And how long are you going to do that for? If you know there's an end term. Now, if you're getting ready for a bodybuilding show or something, that's different, guys. If you're very advanced with this stuff, then that's different. If you know the rules, you can break the rules. I might do a challenge in the spring where it's 6 weeks to shred it. Now, I'll toy around. Obviously, the fasting is going to be the foundation. I'll toy around with some different stuff, knowing it's very short term. And I'm okay with that. But where I differ, what I teach people with the Panda diet, it's a lifestyle that you can do forever. I've been doing this for 6 years now with the Panda. You can't diet for 6 years. If it has a defined start date and end date, that's a diet, what I would call a diet. Now, I know everything's a diet. Everybody, you know what I'm talking about when I say diet. If you can't wait for it to be over, it ain't gonna work. Why are you even doing it? This ties into all the mindset stuff I'm telling you. But when you go to break your fast, don't worry about limiting insulin. All right, I hope you liked the video. Hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment. Check the pinned comments. I've got the link in there for my upcoming 6-week Panda challenge where I teach you all this stuff in depth and I coach you through it. Later, guys.